SEBI has cautioned mutual funds to be vigilant against dubious groups misrepresenting themselves as fund managers on Telegram. But this menace on Telegram and other social media platforms seems to be much larger. Reports suggest Telegram users have been added to fraudulent groups that give advice on stocks and cryptos. Some of these groups have more than tens of thousands of followers. The huge volume of traders means that these groups are very well capable of pushing the markets and also defrauding investors of their money. Some of them abound in get-rich schemes and promise to double your investments overnight. And reports suggest that this has happened. What's worse is they seem to be posing as fund managers or official channels of AMCs who can give their followers better return than mutual funds. My colleague Ankur is here with more details.
Yes, in a strong communication sent by Securities and Exchange Board of India to mutual fund industry, they have warned against those dubious social media channels where several of the investors were conned, and these social media channels pose as asset managers to the investors. They say that they are as good as mutual funds, in fact giving returns much more than mutual funds, and they also compare with several of the mutual fund houses. Now SEBI has acted against them. They have sent a letter to mutual fund industry to act against these dubious social media channels. They have also given the list of the names which are these fake channels where investors had actually complained to SEBI about these social media managers acting as asset managers actually. And they are not even registered at SEBI, but they were posing as if they are acting just like mutual funds. And now it needs to be seen that what action actually the Association of Mutual Fund takes, and individually what kind of warnings will be sent by mutual fund houses to the investors.
All right, Jayan Gupta, MD of Stakeholders Empowerment Services, with us on the show. I'm speaking today with Abid Hussain, CEO and co-founder of Sensible.com, and Kumar Saurabh, founder of Scientific Investing, is also with me on the show. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us. Kumar Saurabh, let me begin, with your take on what's happening. So SEBI is basically, put simply, telling AMCs that, listen, people are impersonating you on Telegram, do something about it, file a police complaint. But isn't that like trying to find a needle in a haystack? There are so many of these groups.
Thanks, Tamana. Thanks for inviting. You have rightly pointed it out, because the problem is much bigger. And it's not like the problem has started today. It used to exist from your indoor phone calls to indoor messages, SMS, and that has transformed into social media. And it is not only the AMC, AMC names which are being misused. A lot of fin influencers, a lot of social media personalities' names are also being misused, where I see some of my friends who don't run any kind of such advisory services. Even there are hundreds, not 100, but maybe 10 to 15, fraudulent names, and they're collecting money. So the problem is much bigger, but there is a start. And I hope, it will continue, and more stringent rules will come to, curb all of this going on.
Now, the question at the end of the day is that what are these stringent curbs which can come? Abid Hassan, is the solution exactly this, that whoever is being impersonated, for example, if Kumar Saurabh's friend is being impersonated, they have to go to the cops and say X and Y, Z Telegram channel is impersonating me? Is that the way? Mutual funds have to go and say, I'm being impersonated. There are apparently 8 or 10 of them of Paytm, Tata Mutual Fund. Is the onus on them?
The biggest problem is, so I can show you right now on my phone that there are 4 people who are impersonating me. I kid you not. Okay, there are 4 Telegram channels by my name, my variants of my name. It's crazy, right? And I have roughly 50 odd K followers on Twitter. I tried asking all my followers to report those channels. So they reported them, and they all were shut down in 4 days, right? In a matter of 4-5 days. But the thing is, fraud is like a multi-headed hydra, right? You cut down one head, another 10 heads pop up. So I realistically don't think if a mutual fund comes together, or if all the industry comes together, if SEBI, cybercrime, everybody puts all their resources, throw the kitchen sink and everything else they've got in, I don't think this is going to solve the problem, simply because, first of all, too many things will be under the radar, right? You don't need to be like a 50,000 people Telegram group to scam people. You can also make 900 odd people got 10 Telegram groups, right? Now the question is, first of all, in Telegram, anonymity is very supreme, right? It's very, very difficult to find out who actually runs a Telegram group. So I think to answer your question, maybe if you really put a lot of resources in it, you possibly might be able to bring out the biggest groups with the largest participation, but it's nearly impossible to beat down all the 900 to 1500 odd people groups which exist.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing, Abid. You talked about many people impersonating you. Which
Correct.
platform was it on? Telegram?
Telegram, of course, Telegram.
Okay, and when you told your users please report them, did any of them shut down, and did they then spring up again?
So there are multiple, right? So on Twitter, for example, I'm a bit sensible, right? So it is two L's at the end. But then if you use a small letter I twice with a caps I, it kind of looks like me. So there are versions of this, right? With three L's, one L, sensible with an E spelled. There are hundreds of them. So every time I find something, I ask my followers, please report this. They do report. Some of them do get shut down, especially on Twitter. It gets shut down very quickly because the monitoring is much more tighter. But on Telegram, despite all my efforts, maybe I was able to shut down one channel. Everything else is still active. They're peddling crypto, they're peddling FX, they're peddling illegitimate FX scams. There's a lot of money trail going on. They're asking people to send money on GPay, and there's nothing I can do about it. They've even used my own picture on it. So yeah, there's nothing you can do.
This is what is really, really scary. And if you're wondering, so what's the big deal? If someone's pretending to be Abid Hassan or someone's pretending to be XYZ, they are asking users for money. They're promising them that you will double your money, maybe giving them something initially to increase their stakes in the game, and scamming them. This is a whole scam going on. Mr. Gupta, today SEBI has said to AMCs कि आप देख लो. Make sure that your name is not being misused. It's a bit like, putting the onus on the victim. It's like putting the onus on Abid. That aap dekh lo.
Tamanna, in this entire thing, everybody is a victim. The investor is a victim, mutual fund is a victim, and SEBI is also a victim because everybody criticizes SEBI. That's what is happening. Now, as I say always, the first level of protection begins with you, the investor. Now, as long as you are falling for shortcuts in life, there will be a problem. And I always say that greed is married to grief without any divorce provision. So there is no divorce clause between greed and grief. The moment you are greedy, you have to come to grief one day. That is one. My other theory, I say that every convenience, every item of convenience increases your inconvenience or risk by 10 times. So today, everybody wants social media. Now, if SEBI tomorrow says the social media should be shunned, there will be hundreds of people who will be saying that SEBI is going into a Shahjahan period of regulation or something like this. So SEBI has to move forward. Today the problem is that, and Abid was saying that it is so difficult to trace the person. Then the second thing is this, that in our country there are various rules. Unless until you find the victim or the victim complains, no investigation can happen. So if, for example, if I kill 100 people who have no relatives in this world, there will be no complaint. So the issue is very clear. We need to think. And third is our law system. The legal system is such that it will take ages. Probably if I file a case, my children or my grandchildren will be able to see the resolution in a court of law. Having said that, we have to understand and agree that this problem is going to stay and it is going to move further. The reason is very simple. On one hand, we say that your mobile is everything. Mobile is your bank, mobile is your investment manager, mobile is your accountant, mobile is everything. When you are saying you have reached to that stage of technology, then you got to be very clear that there will be people who want to break into this. Now, first thing I say, I have yet to find a friend or I have yet to find a relative who will say that, Jayan, you give me 100 rupee, I will give you 200 rupee. No friend of mine is going to give this to me.
I mean,
So if no relative and friend is going to give to me, why third fund manager is going to give it to me? That is one. But somehow technologically we have to find a solution that people are going to rely on social media. Let it be a thing that it cannot change. If we can create a social media where everybody puts into their social media, all the Telegram channel merge, but that media has some sort of authenticity of MP or SEBI or something, so that if I put my recommendation in that box, SEBI or MP will know that it is Jayan Gupta who has put something in that box.
So the only process is verification. What you're talking about is verification, which does not happen on Telegram. Kumar Saurabh, that's the issue, right? I don't know who is who. And verification is interesting because the one place which does it, at least, majorly, because Abid talked about Twitter, wants to make it paid, and then you've had impersonators. This is a prime example of why you need social media verification, isn't it?
That is important, but Mr. Gupta raised an important point of greed, and let me highlight this whole issue started, I feel, somewhere in 2020, because I remember the way first most of these guys, they needed to create an audience base. So there was a very popular tweet used to circulate, follow these top 10 accounts and they'll put their name and they will build a user base. I remember we got some of these accounts got deleted. And within 6 months, these accounts again came and built a base of 50,000 followers in no time. So how did those 50,000 followers came despite, one time catching such people? So one thing, it's greed. Even after verification, if there is greed in the people, I don't know if, that will solve the purpose. But it is very important to do that and also send some strong message by maybe punishing some of these accounts so that at least there's a sense of, fear that, doing these things are very dangerous.
Okay, so now from the investor point of view, because I don't want to, use this platform only to berate the investor that you're greedy, so you're in trouble. The fact is that many of these accounts seem very genuine. They're using the logo of the companies. They're putting out the same videos as the company. If there is one little change in a letter here and there, it's very easy to get confused. So Abid, what would you tell your followers, for example, so that they know what is the real sort of advice that is coming, what is the fake advice that is coming, and what do you make of SEBI's crackdown or, move towards controlling all of this advice which is going around online?
So I think one of the points which we haven't really highlighted here is more than the simple crackdown on AMCs and companies peddling advice, right, or impersonators peddling advice. The bigger problem is there are unregistered tipsters who are, completely prowling the world of Twitter plus Telegram plus YouTube, who dish out advice in F&O. So because I get that, right, because AMC, so somebody asking you to buy XYZ stock is okay because it's not on adrenaline, right? There's no real steroid when you look at stocks. It's not get rich quick scheme. But the real get rich scheme, if you ask me, is on options. And the problem, of course, is that, see, at the very fundamental level, right, in India is a very aspirational country. If you go to a very rich dude and ask him, do you want 30% return? He'll be like, yeah, I'm fine. But if you ask a person who has like 1 lakh capital and tell him 20-30% return, he'll be like, that's just 2K a month. What does that change? So the vulnerable target audience here, right, are not actually people who are being targeted by impersonators of companies. The real vulnerable target is people who are following quote unquote tipsters and scammers who are peddling F&O gyan on Twitter and Telegram. So the only advice I would say to this is, look, it's very simple, right? If somebody, so I used to be an institutional trader, right? I used to manage an FX book of roughly $500 million to $1 billion, right? And look, somebody, if they are a really good trader, they are not going to spend their after hours and weekends creating a large audience of people to, collect 5K a month from them on Twitter, right, or on Telegram. And they're not.
But they're saying they're doing it as a yeoman service. There are well-known people who are online.
Yeah,
it's not like they're all, jobless people who have nothing to do.
So that is the fun part.
How do I differentiate?
Yeah, so there is a fix. So see, ultimately I am a garden variety nerd, okay, because I don't understand this part of finance, but we did do something technologically recently which became like a wildfire on Twitter. What we did is, because we are an option trading platform which is broker agnostic, connected to all the biggest brokers in India. So we were getting the real P&L of people who were, so the primary thing is most of these scammers establish credibility by showing their profit and loss screenshots saying that, okay, I have made so much money, why don't you follow me? Now the reality is, for people who are developing code, right, people like us, we look at the screenshot and we know that, okay, this is HTML edited, there's something is not adding up, this font color is off, this font is fudged, etc. So we thought, why don't we just do a backend service, an API service, where you can get the real P&L of a person of a particular day right from the backend of the broker, so that they can share it on social media and say, look, if you want to follow me, if you think I'm a legit trader, why don't you just look at this P&L? This is reality, right? So now we did this as a fun project. We never expected this to become, it was trending for 5 days non-stop on Twitter. It was covered on 3 national channels. So what we did is, we said, look, we know that this place is full of, as we call, furus or fake gurus. We can't really expose them as a company to SEBI or something, right? Because we have other things to do. We said, look, okay, let's just take a bet that all these guys are actually making money. We are going to build a service which actually verifies people's P&L. They can voluntarily disclose their P&L and we'll show it to everybody, and we'll make you famous, right? If you're real. We actually developed this feature and launched it on November 24th expiry last month, and you wouldn't believe me, we were tracking 30-40 regular accounts who are always posting P&L on their Telegram groups, Twitter groups, YouTube, etc. All of them just vanished, right? None of them were profitable anymore. So I think the greatest expose you can do is bring out the technology. If brokers, right, come together and say, look, we can never prevent greed, right? People are going to look for somebody who's going to tell them, look, I am profitable, why don't you follow me? That there's no way on earth a regulator can prevent that, unless they put the onus on broker that, look, your client should not do this. But I think that's a far-fetched thing, right? The next best thing you can do is crowdsource transparency. So for example, we did this, right? So if all the
protect
brokers,
yourself. I think we should break it down to the individual. Kumar, how does the individual protect themselves? And I'm loving this term that Abid has now introduced. I'm going to rob it completely. The furus, the fake gurus. It's definitely the word of the week.
So, in fact,
there are too many furus out there. Kumar, how does an individual protect themselves?
so coincidentally, I am also in the same situation this month, where for the first time I see a fake Telegram account has been created. So 2-3 things which I have started. One, I have connected with somebody who is a cyber expert. The other thing I think many times we don't register our trademarks and all, because it takes 6-7 months. But I think it's important to go for that. The third thing is to be very, very cautious in terms of how we are communicating. So like if you go to my Twitter profile, it says that I don't run any advisory services. This is the only thing I do. And to make things clear, it is very, very important. So I think, ticking these 3-4 checklist items in terms of making the communication right, keep updating time to time about our stand, regularly checking, because all it needs is you go to Telegram and just search and you will find it, because they add XYZ and they do it. And then the fourth is, to have a proper cybercrime information about trademarking, how to approach the cybercrime to get all this stopped. I think that is a must for anybody who is in the public domain and, getting into these kind of situations.
All right, J.N. Gupta, it's clear it's not going to end here. SEBI will have to do more, isn't it?
See, I tell you, as other speakers have said, that buck begins and stops at the individual only. If I have to protect myself, say for example, I will not go to a doctor who is not registered or MBB or something. I will not go to a vegetable vendor to treat me of my disease. Now, what is happening is this: you are ready to believe anybody or everybody who says, I have made money. If I have made money, I will keep it hidden. I will not tell everybody that I have made money. None of us, that Abid says anywhere in the TV channel, look, I have made 1 crore rupees of money. I will tell you how to make 1 crore. Abid will not say. So anybody who has made genuine money will never say. It is problem with the investor, because I want to become millionaire tomorrow having 10 rupees in my pocket. The problem will remain. There will always be fight between scamsters and victims and regulators and news report, everything. We will always, since time immemorial, murder has been treated as a bad thing.
But there's a difference, Mr. Gupta. You gave the example of the vegetable vendor, that you won't go to a vegetable vendor to treat a disease. You'll go to a doctor. But the vegetable vendor is pretending to be the doctor. That's the difference.
So that is what I'm saying.
With a fake
it is your
certificate.
capability. I will tell you, the issue is very simple. why I go to, if I have to log in, why I log into Telegram channel, why I not log into Jirodha or Kotak or L&T. It takes the same time. You go to their website and see.
Okay.
Why you want to bring, please understand, you have to understand the motive of the person. Unless until you understand the motive, with what social motive that person is saying that please double your money. If I have that trick, I will be the biggest person or richest person in the world.
I don't know how anyone can hope to cure humanity of a basic instinct to get more than they deserve. But it's going to be a big job.
Humanity cannot be cured by you, me, or anybody. It can't be cured by SEBI also.
No, this Friday evening, we're not hoping to cure anything, but we want to definitely throw light on a menace out there. It's a real menace. People have lost a lot of money. It is a serious scam going on. At the very least, what you can do is try and protect yourself. Thank you so much to all of you for joining us.